Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming. Before I kick it off, I just do want to say we're here to talk about a specific investigation. Obviously, that investigation is ongoing. I'm sure there will be questions that you all will have that I just won't be able to answer. So I just want to load that up front for you, and then we'll kick right into it. On December 21st, 2022, a group of individuals fired some 17 rounds from a high-powered rifle into a residence in Kennedy Park. Over the next 5 months, our officers and detectives took on an exhaustive investigation and ultimately this week arrested 4 individuals for the crimes associated with that shooting. They are Noor Mohammed Aden, who has been charged with aggravated attempted murder and conspiracy to commit murder; Jaheim Whitting, who faces charges of aggravated attempted murder and conspiracy to commit murder; Abukar Abdi, who's been charged with conspiracy to commit murder; and Jabri Myers, also charged with conspiracy to commit murders. When the initial shooting happened, that residence was occupied. Rounds from the rifle penetrated the walls, penetrated the windows, and came to rest in a bedroom where a 7-month-old child slept. Obviously, these crimes are incredibly concerning for us. This violence that we're seeing in our community is unacceptable. And I think it's important that you understand that this team of detectives will stop at nothing to bring charges in crimes like these. Does anybody have any questions?
Where were they all from?
Lewiston.
Chief, can you just briefly explain the difference between why 2 of them were charged with aggravated attempted murder versus the conspiracy to commit murder?
I'm not going to get into the specific charges.
It wasn't their actions compared to the other 2?
Well, clearly it was, but I'm not going to get into the specifics of what those actions were.
I'm trying to understand the difference.
Okay, there is a difference in charges based on their actions.
Was originally believed that they had gone to the wrong house? Were they looking for somebody else?
Again, we're not going to get into those specifics at this point.
What was the piece of information that allowed your team of detectives to finally make arrests?
Well, I will go back to saying it's just the volume of work that they put in. Somewhere over 24 search warrants were executed, a ton of other criminal process worked through the DA's office, so it was really just dogged police work and not letting it go.
5 months or so on this case?
Yeah, 5 months.
Help us kind of put that in context for other investigations that might be similar of an attempted murder. Like, is this long, short, right on par?
I would say it's long. It's one of those cases that could very easily have gone cold, but based on the circumstances of the crime and the gun violence that we're seeing, these detectives just didn't let it go, and they continued following each clue, each lead that they had to bring it to where we are today.
Was it all of these detectives?
There are primaries, but we work as a team. So yeah, everybody had a piece in it.
There have been several high-profile incidents over there. Most recently, the assault of a child, the officers being fired at on 4th of July last summer.
Yeah.
Speaking with residents there, a woman, a mother, telling me she's afraid to let her kid go outside and play. Obviously, that's disappointing to hear in the city of Gorham. What are you all doing? Are the patrols beefed up? Why is that area such a problem?
Well, we're seeing increased crime throughout the city, and I will tell you, for us, it is incredibly disheartening and hard to hear anytime you feel your community tell you that they don't feel safe. So we are patrolling the community as much as we can. We're meeting with community groups, and we're trying to get an understanding of what's going on.
Did you work with Lewiston PD or other agencies?
Yeah, I was going to save that to the end, but we have a huge thanks to the Maine State Police, the Lewiston Police Department, and the FBI Safe Streets Task Force.
We noticed there are security cameras. Is that one piece of this to help lead to these people? It seems like we're not going to get the details of how you caught up with them, but obviously there are cameras everywhere nowadays.
Right, so yeah, I mean, it's on the detectives to locate those cameras and follow up in any way that they can.
Did that contribute to this success?
Again, I'm not going to go into the specifics.
Have you been in touch with the victims throughout this? I know they were talking about maybe moving right after.
Sure, yeah, we have victim advocates that work directly with our detectives, and they've been engaged with the family the entire time.
Will you be letting the neighborhood know that the 4 people were arrested?
Well, so the press release is going out, so yeah, I mean, you know, you all are our vehicle to that, along with our patrol officers who are in the community all the time.
Is one weapon involved?
Again, I'm not going to get into the specifics.
Originally, they said it was one person got out of a car, though. We could assume it might have been a driver. There's 2. Where were the other 2?
Again, I'm not going to get into that.
What's the next step for the people being arrested? When's the next hearing, you know?
I don't know the date of the arraignment.
Just going back to the trend piece, for example, like I know last year in particular, a huge spike, and that this is still somewhat ongoing. What do the numbers look like this year, gun violence compared to last year?
I don't have a direct comparison from last year. Since January 1st of 2022, we've had 118 incidents where residents or visitors reported shots fired. Of that 118, 65 of those we were able to confirm through either evidence or direct witness accounts that there were actually shots fired.
Chief Barnum, we missed this in the information from the release. Were any of the people who were arrested as part of this investigation prohibited from having firearms previously?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Do they have any other criminal records to your knowledge?
Not to, I'm not going to say no. I don't know the specifics. How about that?
The only other question I had, because you were talking about it a second ago, it seems like there's a delicate balance here between when a case goes cold, so to speak,
Yeah.
being able to bring it to resolution. Can you talk about what your detective said or how it makes you as a department feel to know that the balance ended up on your side this time?
Yeah, well, I say it all the time. I'm incredibly proud of these folks. I'm incredibly proud of the work that they do every day. When you start thinking about the hours that they put into this specific investigation, the amount of writing that goes into it, the reports, the working with the district attorney's office, it's really incredible. And, you know, to see it here is a great place, but we're not done. You know, the investigation continues as we work it through the court process.
I spoke to people that live over there, a couple doors down.
Mm-hmm.
They were more concerned about the incident on Monday.
Yep.
And are wondering if there is any connection. Why hasn't there been any arrest made
Yep.
there? What do you tell the people who are still very frazzled about what happened Monday?
Yeah, that was a very scary situation. We are taking that incredibly seriously and continuing to work that investigation.
No arrest?
No arrests.
One more question if anybody has one, or we'll wrap this up. All right, thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thanks, everyone.